All right, guys. So here is the second activity. This is going to be for lesson 4.1 and 4.2 for unit 6. For the first part, these are just notes, and I want you to read these on your own. And it goes over the unit circle and how we define any point on the unit circle. So let's say that we have a point here, P. Now, it's going to be hard to define where it is if we don't know the coordinate. But the way that we define it specifically on a unit circle is by using an angle. And this is the important part here. The angle should start at the positive x-axis and rotate counterclockwise. So if you guys take a look here, it should start where this green line is, where I'm pointing at right here on the x-axis is, and it's going to go counterclockwise. So it's not going to go like a normal clock this way, right? It's going to go the opposite way. So it's going to go backwards. For figure 1, we call the point in the unit circle P, and we use theta, this little symbol right here, the Greek letter theta, to represent the angle. So we don't know this angle exactly. We're just going to represent that using theta, just like we would use x, y, z, okay? Often a point on the unit circle is described simply as point P at angle theta. Again, you would put your specific, like point P at angle 27, since there's only one point on the circle that can meet that description. Okay, so that's all you have to know for this. This is just something that we're just gonna briefly cover through notes. Now, for the first task here, you're gonna write down what you notice and what you wonder about this circle. This is an interesting type of circle that we're gonna go over multiple times in this unit. So don't worry if you can't get it right away, but I just want you to observe the circle and write down what do you notice and what do you wonder about this circle, okay? There's a little thing right here. Maybe you'll notice that. And if you go over this is like a little extra notice. So like imagine we were doing this in class, right? I would have you guys write down what you notice and wonder, discuss with a partner, and then we bring it whole class. This part right here, I'm not going to go over it. This would be like what I would say as a whole class discussion, okay? So just make sure you read over that. Now, for 4.2, I give you a unit circle. And this is the unit circle that we're going to talk about. You guys will see this again in pre-calc and calculus next year. It's something that I remember having my teachers, they used to make us write it down and like draw it. And I think we had a test, like you had to draw it by memory. But for the first part here, I'm just going to have you guys take a look at it, absorb all that's going on, right? We saw part of the unit circle in that last activity. Now for this activity, I identified the quadrants for you. So quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. And notice how it's going counterclockwise, starting with the positive x coordinates, right? So it's going 1, 2, 3, 4. I do give you specific measurements here that I circled in red, and I also give you the measurements around the circle, okay? Don't worry, you're not going to do any math in this one. What do you notice about the angle measures in the different quadrants? So what do you notice about the angle measures in quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4? Are there any of these angle measures with specific patterns? Do you notice any specific patterns happening throughout? Are there any that are the same? What do you see happening there? And I want you just to write 1 or 2 things that you notice about each of the angle measures in the quadrants. Again, this is just an activity to familiarize this with your mind so that when you guys see this again, you're not like, whoa, what is this? There's a lot going on, okay? For number 2, what else do you notice about the angle measures? Are there any patterns? So again, if you wrote down any patterns, you can just like rewrite them here, or if you didn't find any patterns in the first question, then you can just put them in the second question. All right, and that's it for this activity. Pretty short. It's just to get you guys used to the idea of looking at a unit circle. And I don't know, I think maybe next year you guys will be able to have your own that you can refer to. If you can memorize this, all the better. Just so that you're familiar with it, because the more familiar you are with it, the faster you will be able to do these problems and understand. All right, email me if you guys have any questions.